Stop. What I'm about to say is not for everyone listening, it is for you. And if you have felt even quietly that this Friday is carrying a different weight in your chest, do not turn away now. You have been moving through a season where something in you has been awake before the rest of your life could explain it. You have been trying to name it, trying to explain it, trying to convince yourself that it is only fatigue, only stress, only another ordinary day passing through ordinary hands. But it is not ordinary to you. It is not random. Something has been pressing against the inside of your spirit, and you have felt it without having words for it. You have also felt the ache of being the one who notices first, the one who feels the shift before anyone else does. The one who keeps going, even when the room around you acts unchanged, even when your own heart knows that something has already begun. That kind of knowing can feel lonely. It can make you question whether you are imagining things, whether you are reading too much into silence, whether you are hoping for a door that has not even appeared yet. Stay with me, because by the time this message closes, you are going to recognize the signs that have been moving through your days, and you are going to understand what they actually mean. You are going to see the pattern beneath them, the hidden reason it has felt so hard to settle into what used to fit. And before this ends, there is a declaration I'm going to speak over your life that I believe is the reason you were meant to hear this on a Friday like this one. I need you to hear this clearly. This message did not arrive by accident. It came to you by appointment, because there are moments when heaven does not shout. It simply places a word where your heart will find it when it is ready. And if you are hearing this now, it is because something in you has already reached that place. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not being left out of what is opening for you. So receive this as a contract between you and the truth that is finding you now. By the end of this, you will understand why certain conversations have started to feel empty, even when they were once enough. You will understand why your sleep has not always felt restful, why your inner world has seemed to wake before your outer world does, and why your attention keeps returning to the same quiet question. You will understand why some doors have not opened by force and why the waiting has not been waste. You will understand that what has been surrounding you is not confusion, it is preparation. And there is more than that. You are going to hear the difference between a delay and a dismissal, between a pause and a refusal, between a closed path and a protected one. You are going to recognize that the tenderness you have felt lately is not weakness, and the restlessness is not failure. It is the sign of a life that is being adjusted before it is expanded. It is the sign of a soul that is being made ready for what it once prayed for in secret. This is why the words are coming now and not later. This is why the timing feels exact and not vague. This is why your heart leaned in before your mind had time to explain anything. You have not been overlooked. You have been addressed. You have not been forgotten. You have been found in the middle of your ordinary Friday, and the ordinary is not going to remain ordinary after this. Something has been happening to you, and you know it. You may not have called it by name, but you have felt it in the way you wake, in the way you listen, in the way your inner life no longer agrees to be small. You have had those mornings when you open your eyes at the same hour again and again, as if something deep within you refuses to keep sleeping through what is being prepared. It does not always happen with fear. Sometimes it happens with a strange calm, a quiet alertness, a sense that you are being summoned by a reality you cannot yet see. And then the rest of the day begins, but that hour has already marked you. You carry it with you like a whisper in your pocket. You have also felt the waves that arrive without obvious reason. One moment you are steady, and the next moment a tenderness moves through you so suddenly that you have to pause and breathe around it. Not sadness exactly, not joy exactly. Something larger than both. It comes over you while you are doing simple things, while you are washing a cup, folding a shirt, waiting in traffic, standing in a quiet room. And because nothing visible caused it, you have wondered if you should be concerned. But what if it is not disorder at all? What if your spirit is simply responding to a movement your mind has not caught up with yet? Then there are the conversations that no longer carry the same weight. Words from the past that once seemed enough now sound thin when you hear them again. Certain promises feel hollow. Certain explanations do not hold. Even some connections that used to fit comfortably now feel like clothing that no longer belongs to the body wearing it. You have not become difficult, you have become honest. You have not grown cold, you have grown clear. And clarity always changes what can remain in the same room. And there are the signs that keep finding you in places where you did not expect them. Repeated numbers on receipts, clocks, addresses, pages, screens, patterns that appear too often to ignore and too gently to frighten you. Not every pattern is a puzzle, but not every pattern is meaningless either. Some are simply small taps on the shoulder, patient and recurring, telling you to pay attention because your life is crossing a threshold while you are still learning how to stand in it. If even one of those signs has landed in you, if your shoulders have dropped even once as you listened, type the number 888 in the comments. Your fingers typing those numbers are your spirit saying yes. It is the frequency of overflow, the sign that what has been held back is not gone, only gathering its shape. Type 888, then come right back to me. But do not miss what is happening underneath these signs. They are not warnings, they are confirmations. They are not evidence that something is wrong with you. They are evidence that something in you is being aligned, softened, and made ready. The waking hour is not punishment, it is invitation. The emotional wave is not chaos, it is calibration. The distance from what once felt familiar is not abandonment. It is adjustment. You are being given a different kind of sight, and when sight changes, the old world often looks strange for a while. Beneath those signs is one single pattern, and once you see it, you will recognize how long it has been shaping your days. You have been living as if effort alone should unlock what belongs to you. You have been leaning your full weight against doors that were never meant to open by force. You have been trying to earn the thing that was meant to be received. That pattern is quiet, but it is powerful. It makes the faithful exhausted. It makes the gifted overwork. It makes the patient feel guilty for pausing. You are not lazy. You are not undisciplined. You are not lacking devotion. But somewhere along the way, you learn to confuse constant pushing with genuine faithfulness. You learn to think that if you stopped straining, everything would fall apart. You learned to keep proving what had already been true, and because of that, you have spent precious strength on doors that never required your force, only your arrival. This is how the pattern has played out across your life. You sense a calling, and you immediately begin to carry it like a burden. You sense opportunity, and you start rehearsing all the ways you must become worthy of it. You feel the pull towards something holy, and then you rush to manage it, explain it, contain it, keep it safe by keeping it controlled. But what you control, you cannot fully receive. What you grip too tightly, you cannot fully inhabit. That is why there has been so much internal exhaustion. Not because you have been doing the wrong thing in every area, but because you have been applying the right hunger to the wrong method. You have been bringing your sincerity to a system that only responds to surrender. You have been bringing your loyalty to a path that is asking for trust, and that mismatch has cost you more energy than you knew. Still, hear this without blame. This pattern did not begin because you were careless. It began because you were trying to survive. It began because at some point moving hard and fast felt safer than waiting in openness. It began because you were taught directly or indirectly that resting before the promise arrives is dangerous, that calm means complacency, that stillness means loss. So you kept moving, you kept proving, you kept carrying. You kept the door under pressure even when your hands were trembling. And the silent cost of that pattern has been enormous. It has made you second-guess your own discernment. It has made you dismiss your own readiness. It has made you stay longer in things that had already outlived their meaning, simply because leaving felt like admitting you had been wrong. It has made you accept less clarity than you deserve, less peace than you were created to carry, less spaciousness than your soul has been asking for all along. But there is a layer beneath this one, and it is older than your habits. It is quieter than your effort. It is the place where the pattern first learned your name. Imagine a courtyard that has belonged to you long before you ever learned how to cross its stone. It is not a place you earned. It is a place you were meant to inhabit. Yet for years it has been covered, dimmed, and left in shadow, as if its own light had been withheld from the center. You have walked around its edges without fully entering. You have sensed there was more space than you were using, more air than you were breathing, more belonging than you were allowing yourself to feel. That courtyard holds the memory of who you were before pressure taught you to narrow. It holds the echo of a voice that was once clear before it learned to speak quietly in order to be safe. It holds the shape of a presence that was meant to move freely, not constantly scanning for what might break. And because the light there was covered for so long, you began to believe the shadows were part of the architecture. You began to treat the dimness as normal. But the courtyard was never meant to remain dark. The stones are still there. The paths are still there. The openness is still there. What was hidden was never removed. It was only waiting for the cover to lift. Something in you has been living like that courtyard. Something in you has remained intact beneath the dimming. Something in you remembers light, even when the season feels muted. That is why you have felt both tired and called, both tender and unsettled, both cautious and strangely hopeful. The courtyard has not been abandoned. It has been waiting for the day you would stop calling shadow home. Long ago, something around you taught that voice to soften, taught that inward knowing to shrink, taught that openness must be protected by restraint. Maybe it happened through disappointment, maybe through criticism, maybe through love that was sincere but limited, maybe through the simple pressure of being the one who had to stay strong for everyone else. Whatever the shape, it left its mark. The courtyard became quieter. The footsteps became more careful. The gates seemed to stay shut even when no lock was visible, and yet the design never changed. The courtyard still belongs to the one who can walk in without fear. It still belongs to the one who can let the curtains move back and let the light name what has been there all along. That is what is stirring now, not a new identity, a recovered one, not a brand new self, a self returning to the place that was always waiting. If that image has settled somewhere deep in you, if you can feel the courtyard opening even a little as you hear this, type the words, "I am here," in the comments. Let that simple phrase mark the moment the door inside you recognized its own threshold. Type it, then come back to me, because this is not about becoming someone else. It is about returning to the part of you that no longer needs to perform entry into what was always yours. And that is the turn. The courtyard is not asking you to build more strength. It is asking you to step back into what was always waiting. The light does not need your permission to be light. It only needs the cover lifted. The open space does not need you to defend it. It only needs you to trust that you are allowed to stand inside it without earning the ground beneath your feet. So the solution is not more striving. It is a return to breath that is not rushed, a return to listening that is not defensive, a return to presence that does not require your performance. You do not have to manufacture what is already being offered. You do not have to force what has already begun to open. You only have to let your whole self receive the room that has been waiting for your arrival. What you do not need to do now is prove your worthiness again. You do not need to build a new identity from scratch. You do not need to invent a better version of yourself and then drag that version into the light. You need to let what is true become lived. that is different, that is gentler, that is stronger than strain. There are two simple anchors here, and they are not homework. They are ways of tending the return. The first is what I call the morning seal. When you wake, before the noise of the day has gathered around you, place one hand over your chest and simply acknowledge that you are entering a day already touched by grace. Do not rush past that moment. Let the first movement of your day be reception, not reaction. Let the opening of your eyes be met with the awareness that you are already held. The second is the threshold pause. Before you answer what drains you, before you over-explain, before you step again into the old rhythm of over-functioning, pause long enough to ask whether you are about to cross from peace into pressure. Sometimes the sacred thing is not the next action. Sometimes it is the refusal to let urgency name your worth. Sometimes it is the quiet decision to remain in the courtyard long enough to remember your own breathing. These are not techniques to master. They are ways of stewarding what is being restored. You are not being asked to perform your healing. You are being invited to keep company with it. You are not being asked to chase your becoming. You are being asked to honor the pace at which your soul is re-entering its own light. And yes, there is something beautiful about the fact that this is happening now, on a Friday, with the week still visible behind you and the weekend not yet fully arrived. There is something fitting about receiving this while the old pressures are still fresh, because you are being shown how not to carry them forward. You are being taught to cross the threshold without dragging every chain with you. If this has confirmed what your spirit already knew, let your like be your amen, without words, not as a metric, as an agreement that what was named here was named correctly. Sit with that for a moment. Let it settle into the part of you that has waited longest to hear it. There is someone in your life who came to mind while you were hearing this, someone quietly tired, someone secretly seeking, someone who holds a posture nobody around them notices because they have learned to make their own burden look ordinary. Someone who has been working harder than the people around them and still feeling the door stay closed. That face did not appear by accident. Send this to them, not as a recommendation, as a delivery, the same way it was delivered to you tonight by appointment, the same way a word finds the person who has been carrying it without knowing. And now I speak this over you. You are confirmed, you are steadied. You are no longer required to force what is meant to meet you. You are released from the burden of proving. You are released into the honesty of your own readiness. You are released into the quiet strength of returning. You do not have to be louder to be chosen. You do not have to be harsher to be protected. You do not have to become smaller to remain safe. You are being taught how to stand in the light without apologizing for the shape of your soul. Right now, all across the world, there are others receiving the same recognition in their own quiet way. Some are reading silence as a door, some are feeling their own courtyard open, some are realizing that what they called delay was actually preparation. You are part of that unseen gathering, and that is why this feels so intimate, so exact, so unmistakably alive. I am chosen. You are not imagining the closeness of this moment. You are not inventing the weight of it, and you are not making too much of what your heart has already recognized. This is the kind of hour that arrives quietly, and yet leaves a mark that does not fade when the room gets louder again. It asks for reverence, not explanation. It asks for presence, not performance. It asks you to remain where the truth has already found you. You have come this far because something in you was ready to stop wrestling with the shape of your own life. Something in you was ready to stop calling every ache a failure and every delay a rejection. Something in you was ready to understand that the soul often speaks first in unrest, then in recognition, then in peace. So do not rush past the tenderness of this ending. Let it gather. Let it settle. Let it say what it came to say. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not standing outside the blessing you thought had already passed you by. What has been moving toward you has not lost its way. What has been forming around you has not been delayed beyond repair. There are seasons when the deepest thing happening is invisible until the right word touches it. And then the whole field of your inner life begins to make sense at once. That is why the quiet matters now. That is why the pause matters now. That is why the stillness that once felt empty is beginning to feel like a threshold. You are learning how to hear without forcing, how to receive without grasping, how to let a holy thing be holy without trying to control its timing. This is not passivity. This is trust. This is not surrender to loss. This is surrender to truth. The life in you that has been asking for room is not being dramatic. It is not exaggerating. It is not reaching for attention. It is simply responding to the fact that something old has loosened its grip and something truer is beginning to breathe again. You have been carrying too much of what was never yours to keep forever. You have been standing guard over doors that were never meant to stay closed. You have been guarding a courtyard that only needed one thing from you: return. So return gently. Return without shame. Return without bargaining. Return without having to explain why your heart has become more sensitive to what is false and more open to what is real. Return to the voice that sounds like peace. Return to the rhythm that does not deplete you. Return to the place inside you where clarity does not arrive as violence, but as a quiet yes. That yes has been waiting beneath the noise. That yes has been waiting beneath the exhaustion. That yes has been waiting beneath the years of trying to keep everything together by force. You have not failed because you grew tired. You have not broken because you felt the strain. You have not missed your moment because you needed time to become still enough to hear. Some of the most important turnings in a life do not announce themselves with thunder. They appear as a soft certainty, a gentle interruption, a sentence that reaches a place in you no argument could ever reach. This is one of those moments. Stay with it. Because what follows a true recognition is not panic, it is alignment. What follows alignment is not collapse, it is steadiness. What follows steadiness is not the end of the road, but the beginning of a way of walking that no longer burns your spirit, just to keep moving. You are not meant to survive your path by reducing yourself. You are meant to inhabit it by becoming more honest, more open, more willing to receive what has already been prepared for you. And yes, there is still mystery in it. There is still mystery in the timing, mystery in the unfolding, mystery in the way the invisible prepares the visible long before anyone else can name it. But mystery is not your enemy. Mystery is often the sign that something sacred is near enough to be felt, even before it can be fully explained. Do not fear that. Let mystery remain mystery until it chooses to become clarity. Not everything holy arrives as an answer. Some things arrive as a presence. You have been in the presence of a turning. You have been in the presence of an opening. You have been in the presence of a softer authority than fear. And that authority is beginning to set your steps in order. It does not shout. It confirms. It does not humiliate. It steadies. It does not demand that you become someone else overnight. It simply asks you to stop abandoning what is already true within you. So let this closing be more than words passing through the air. Let it be a hand on the shoulder of your spirit. Let it be a reminder that the unseen can be faithful, that the waiting can be fruitful, that the quiet can be alive with meaning. Let it be the moment you stop measuring your life only by what has manifested and begin honoring the deeper work that has already been done in you. You are blessed in your waiting. You are blessed in your noticing. You are blessed in your becoming. You are blessed in the part of you that refused to go numb. You are blessed in the part of you that kept listening when no one else could hear what was changing. You are blessed in the part of you that is learning little by little not to confuse strain with strength. You are blessed in the part of you that can finally tell the difference between pressure and purpose. You are blessed in the part of you that is no longer willing to call dimness home. You are blessed in the part of you that is turning toward light without apology. And you are blessed because what has been written over you is greater than what has been withheld from you. What has been planted in you is older than the fear that tried to silence it. What has been calling you is not weaker than the noise that surrounded you. It is stronger, it is closer, it is already doing its quiet work. Right now, all across the world, there are hearts receiving this same recognition in their own hidden way. Some will never tell anyone what they felt in these minutes, but they will know they were spoken to. Some will sit in silence and realize that the burden has shifted. Some will weep without knowing exactly why. Some will simply exhale and understand that they have been seen. You are part of that gathering, and you are not alone in it. I am here.